Сайн байцгаана уу хүн үзэгчтэй. Өнөөдөр манай de facto нэвтрүүлгийн зочноор энэ ядуу хүүхдүүдэд тусалдаг Veloo гэж сан байна. Энэ сангийг байгуулсан одоо захирлан Жүли Вэлүү гэж хүн оролцож байна.
Жүли Вэлүү, Вэлүү Сангийн үүсгэн байгуулагч. Хадагтай Жүли Вэлүү нь 1986 онд нөхөр болох Вэлүү Вэлүүтэй анх танилцж гэр бүл болсон ба Канада, Индонез, Австрали, Америк улсад 2 хүүгийн хамт амьдарч байжээ. Вэлүү Санг 2001 онд үүсгэн байгуулж амьдарч байсан улсуудынхаа ядруу амьдралтай иргэдэд тусламжийн гараа сунгасаар ирсэн ба анх 2010 онд Монгол улсад амьдрахаар нөхрийн хамт ирэхдээ 4.5 тонн хувцас, хүрэм, хүнжил хандивлахаар авчирсан байдаг. Монголын Улаанчулуутын хогын цэг дээр хогтун амьдралаа залгуулж буй 100 өнчин хүүхэд гэр бүлийг тогтмол орлоготой ажлын байртай болгох, тус хүүхдүүдийг цэцэрлэгт хамруулж боловсрал эзэмшүүлэх зорилгоор хэд хэдэн төслүүдийг сангаараа дамжуулан гардан хийж буй Канада эмэгтэй юм.
Сайн байна уу та?
Сайн байна уу?
Сайн байна уу? Well, tell us about the foundation. Why you made this foundation?
When we moved to Mongolia, my husband and I in 2010, he came here working for OT. We had a foundation that worked previously with orphans and other similarly disadvantaged children in the developing world. Mostly we had worked in Malaysia and in India. So we came here prepared to do some work. But when we found the children up at the garbage dump in really, really difficult circumstances, home alone or scavenging in the garbage to survive, and often without fuel or fire, even though it was minus 20 and cold.
Now, before we go into Mongolia, I was wondering, you have been doing with your husband for years in other Asian countries, several countries. Which countries and why are you guys doing?
In Malaysia, my husband was raised in Malaysia, and so he himself actually is an orphan. And he was raised by family members. And so basically this is sort of how we started out, with the realization that if it wasn't for his family members who stepped up and, took care of him when he was young. Malaysians. So
the Canadian boy was raised in Malaysian family.
He was born in Singapore.
Wow.
Okay, so his father was from Singapore, his mother was from Malaysia, and then his father died when he was 3. So his mother took him back to Malaysia to raise him, and then with his siblings. And
Malaysian national.
Yeah, and then he was actually, it's kind of an interesting story because he was a stateless person. Because of the political situation between Singapore and Malaysia, he ended up having no citizenship. And so his mother passed away when he was 10.
No citizenship, no parents.
Yeah. And so he emigrated to Canada when he was 21, I think, 21. I met him when he was 22. And then, we got married and moved forward with life and all the rest of it. But we were always really passionate about helping children. And so we started helping an orphanage in Malaysia. And then his father's family was from India originally. And so we've been to India and met some of his relatives there, and we ended up doing some work helping one of the local schools in the countryside. And we tend to just, help people wherever we find them that need help.
So your husband found himself working for Mongolia in 2010 in a Rio Tinto, now consequently with OT project. And since 2010 you came here and you met a couple of Mongolians who have introduced you to this garbage place in beyond Todgoit, right?
Yeah, Ulaanculuut.
Ulaanculuutын, we call it Ulaanculuutын hoging. Hoging tsek. Unfortunately, tsek in Mongolian, point.
Yeah.
But this point is really a point for many poor people. They survive living from these garbages, probably sorting out, using some of them, probably selling some of them. And they slowly was growing, and the city could not do anything. And they were around, some had the gear, some had not, but they had the children, which not necessarily was covered by schools, right? So you found out them in 2010. So what happened?
So when we first went up to the community, we had a lot of clothes and blankets and that sort of thing to donate. So initially, that's what we were expecting to do, was just sort of give some donation to people who needed some help. But when we got up there, and I first met a lady who was raising a child that she had found abandoned in the garbage. She was a trash picker herself, and she had found an infant in the garbage dump, and she was raising this baby as one of her own. And then I also met a child who was home alone. He was maybe 8, and he was home alone because he was too sick to go to the garbage dump to work. But he was also in a small house, shack really, but and he didn't have any fuel, so it was minus 20 that day, and so he was there, really sick and feverish, but with no food and no heat, and just a really sort of filthy bed and blanket to sleep in. And then we also went to another ger, and there was the mother and father were off scavenging, and there was a 6-year-old taking care of his 2-year-old sister. And they also didn't have a fire, and she
Food neither.
No, and she was wearing a T-shirt, and that's all she was wearing
In winter.
in winter. And then really the thing that really did it for me, because we had had quite a lot of experience working with poverty previously, and so I'd seen lots and lots of poverty, but it's coming from Canada, I really understand cold, and so cold on top of poverty is just a level of brutality that I think needs to be taken care of. So this little boy he was upset. As you know, with Mongolian culture, there was no sutetse. He was like, no tutse bako.
Try to give tea, no tea.
But no tea, and he was really
6
upset.
years old.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And he was really sad he had no tea. Yeah. So he went scrambling around underneath the shuge, and he brought out, they had one picture that he had hidden behind the shuge, and he brought out a picture of him and his sister that had been taken somewhere in the countryside, and he was showing it to me. Again, the Mongolian culture of showing photographs, and so he was sort of being the man of the house.
Kind of nice.
So, yeah, it was lovely. But I was just, this day was the day that I just couldn't walk away from. I couldn't just go back to my house and say, oh, wow, it was a really tough day out there at the garbage dump community today. So I decided that somebody had to do something. Nobody was doing anything, and so somebody had to do something. So even though we normally only worked with existing organizations, we decided at that point to go ahead and build a sanctuary. That's why it's called the Children of the Peak Sanctuary, so that the children would at least have someplace warm and safe and food.
And what you did with the sanctuary?
And so we started out, it was going to be just for 30 or 40 children, just sort of a daycare center. And then because of the tremendous support of the community and organizations and international governments and whatnot, it's grown now to be a full project that is addressing the entire problem of people scavenging in the garbage dump. And so we have a kindergarten with 150 children. We have a sewing center that employs 6 people off of the garbage dump. We have...
Which center?
It's called the Fran London Fabric Arts Center. It's housed as part of the English name is Children of the Peak Sanctuary. But
I understand, but the other one, the kindergarten is for 150 children.
Yeah.
And a plus...
A sewing center, which is at...
Sewing center.
Right, yes.
Okay, what they would do is sewing.
They make delts, and they make... we're working on getting some contracts with some of the big stores to make the cloth shopping bags, so that we can stop the plastic shopping bags.
So you have 6 women from the dump area to come to work, sewing del and other clothes.
Yes.
And their children go now to the kindergarten.
Yeah.
And do you have any support from the local governance, administration of district or horo, anything?
Yes, yeah. We get, as a kindergarten, we get the money, the allocation that you get for kindergarten children from the government.
From the government.
Yeah. And we have the district, Songenhagen district, has been very supportive of the project since inception. And we're actually in the process of finalizing a public-private partnership with them so that we can build a second kindergarten on the other side of the garbage dump where there's still lots and lots of children who are not, who have no access to kindergarten.
So now how many total, what is the population there at this Ulaanchuluutын province?
To get really solid numbers is difficult because, of course, some people, whenever possible, they leave, right?
Yes.
And so there's up to about 1,000 people that survive in the garbage dump. At least
children now?
Yeah, including children.
Okay. And it was before more or less?
It was more before. I think we're having an impact. I think it's getting to be less. Okay. One of the parts of the project that we really need to do actually is to engage someone to do a statistical survey to find out, to get some hard data. But we certainly have some anecdotal evidence from our parents that used to scavenge in the garbage dump who are now, because we're taking care of their children, they're now off, finding regular gainful employment. So they're either street sweepers or taking tickets on the buses or doing construction work.
Wow. Now these children in this kindergarten made by the government money, but in the nearby the dam point is now daily run. The cost is how to work, how you finance.
Oh, we the Vэлүү Foundation, which is our foundation, is the primary funder for the Children of the Peak Sanctuary project. Of course, we get the government money, but then Vэлүү Foundation, we go out and we do fundraising. We have monthly sponsorship programs. We're going to be starting a monthly sponsorship program inside of Mongolia, and our big fundraiser is called the Gobi Gallop Gala.
Okay.
So we do this crazy long 700-kilometer and 10-day horseback ride each year. So we bring people from around the world to come and participate in this ride. They raise money for the project, and then we have a gala, which this year is going to be on the 16th of June at Asemger, and we have a big charity auction. We sell tickets, lots, and people donate all kinds of items to make the cost low, and so we make a lot of profit from that. So usually every year from the Gobi Gallop and the Gobi Gallop Gala combined, we make at least $60,000 US, which all of the money that we raise from that, and in fact, all of the donations that we get at Vэлүү Foundations goes directly towards the project. So any of our own operating expenses, my husband and I cover ourselves.
Yourself. You are devoting operations money and your time and raising this fund again with the fund. How many times you have raised this fund?
This will be the 6th year.
6th year.
Yeah.
And the people who are participating in this riding, not only giving money, they're also time, and they also somehow do they get back to you afterwards?
We have the
website, or how do you inform them?
Oh yeah, we have our local trekking partner who is it's called Horse Trek Mongolia. Local people know it as Sarah's Gare Camp, but the website is Horse Trek Mongolia, and they're the local trekking company that we partner with to do the gallop. They also do other rides that they donate 20% of the money that they get from those rides to the kindergarten. So they're local Mongolian couple, Sarah and Bagi, and they do an absolutely fantastic job of coordinating and organizing all of these rides.
The tourism business is so nowadays become very low profit margin, and they are giving almost all of them, even sometimes more of this money. And of course, thanks to Mongolians, actually, you are in cooperation with warm heart Mongolians doing all these things for children, giving more warmth to their cold places. How do you? Let's. I remember also when Governor General Johnston visited Mongolia a couple of years ago. I made interview with him, and at the reception, he gave you Governor's Award.
Yes.
And it's a very highly regarded award in the country, right?
Yes, it's they don't give out an awful lot of medals in Canada. I think it's more common in Mongolia to receive medals, but in Canada,
True.
it's not really a common thing. But the Governor General's Award is it's very prestigious, and I was very, very honored to have been chosen to receive an award from the Governor General. And his wife came up and visited the project, and I had the opportunity to chat with her and talk to her. Really lovely lady, and so yeah, it was a real surprise, but it was a really great honor.
Historic visit.
Yeah.
Of Canada. It's the first time this high-level guest came to Mongolia.
Yeah.
And really, I also impressed that since that time I know you, what you do, and I'm very also impressed with your everything, every day what you do. That not everybody is taking on in this country. So I'm just every time just wondering why a woman should come with husband from Canada and work with these kids where not everybody goes. So it's something, personality. So let's think over what do you think we could do all together, Mongolians? How can we solve the issues? Where the issue is coming? What do you think? You have been meeting these people daily, so what do you think?
Well, the structure that we are working with and what we're working toward is Mongolia doesn't yet have, it's not yet a generational problem. I think in most countries this has been going on for a long time, but in Mongolia there's very few young adults who have grown up scavenging in the garbage. And so I think we're at a unique moment in history where we have an opportunity to stop this problem before it becomes a problem that is unstoppable. So we have a number of vocational initiatives underway now and coming up. So my thought is if we can educate the children and provide opportunities for those adults who are able to take advantage of the opportunities. And then beyond that, it's going to require legislative change. It's going to require some governance from the powers that be. If we can make proper recycling so that the people who are not very easily reemployable in other positions can undertake proper recycling program where they're doing essentially the same work, but they're doing it in heat and comfort with dignity and benefits. So it's an actual career, it's an actual job. And then, of course, the critical thing after that is to then not let anybody else come into the garbage dump. 2
points you have raised. One, the children's, if they will be born in these stamps, already second generations, then they will live in that way because they are born there. Like in many countries, poor countries, today even their country are developed, but still the mentality is not.
Right.
So people live close to their places.
Yeah.
And a very good point. So before it becomes generational, as you said, problem, we should solve. Second, interesting remark, full cycling, proper cycling, recycling of wastes, will not give a chance for people to go and try to live out of this wastes, including food waste, every waste.
Right.
So this country needs sorting out the waste. We need culture for that. It should be sorted in home before it goes, right? Like in Canada, like in Japan, like in the US.
Right.
In the US, in front of your house, they would have 2, 3 different boxes. You drop it by glass here, plastic here, pepper here.
Yeah.
So this is psychology issue. And the third, of course, the sort of not solution of problems, making even this sort of consequences, like people living in West area in the cold of minus 30, 40 this year. Okay, there's 2 important remarks you made. Do you see any progress to this direction?
I do, and actually, one of the things that I'm really encouraged about when I first started working in this sector, working with this problem, a lot of the local Mongolian people that I met simply didn't believe me when I told them that there were children scavenging in the garbage. People would say, no, that is not true. And I always said the same thing. I always said, well, let's go. Right now, we'll get in the car, we'll go up, let's go have a look. Nobody ever took me up on it because nobody ever wanted to go into the garbage dump and see what we were going to see. But now I really see a lot more awareness. And in fact, a lot of what our project is shining a really big light on the problem and letting people know that this problem does exist. So the more people that know about it, the more the likelihood is, the greater the likelihood that something will be done about it. So particularly with the young people now, I see a really encouraging groundswell of support and people, the number of Mongolian people who come up to the kindergarten to volunteer or to donate, food or to donate clothing or to donate money or just to come up and play with the children is really, really encouraging. And so that's part of the reason why I think now is the time we're going to be starting a monthly sponsorship program.
What does that mean?
So we are going to be putting together a program that will make it easy for regular Mongolian people to donate on a regular basis to the project. So whether that's 5,000 tugrigs a month or 10,000 or 20,000 tugrigs, whatever people choose to donate and whatever they feel comfortable with. Part of course, is the money is very helpful for the project and the sustainability. Our organization is really dedicated to the fact that this whole project is going to be run by and taken over by and supported by Mongolians for Mongolia. So it's not going to be all foreign money coming in and sort of rescuing the poor people. It's going to be something that's spearheaded, by local people.
This is a kind of a new setting of new directions where Mongolians in such organized and frequent or in a way, constant way to help each other. And probably it's a matter of having your account and people, if they want, they can donate the money, whatever they can. This sort of public appealing is not much happening in this country, except some famous person or very poor person gets sick and needs to go to China. Or for other treatment, unfortunately. It should be inside of every Mongolians to take care of our brothers, sisters.
Yes.
Have you seen other, there's not only one, it's just for northwestern part of Ulaanbaatar, that Ulaanculuutын, hogin. But there is another ones around. Have you seen, have you visited? Where are there?
I've been to other garbage dumps. There's two other ones that I've been to, and I also visited out in the countryside in Erdensum. And sadly, when we were at the garbage dump in Erdensum, there were two little boys on a horse that were scavenging there as well. So I have visited other places, but our organization is focused primarily on Ulaanculluut garbage dump because it's the biggest one.
No, just a question is, if they were different, or the similar should be, and then the people the same?
No, I didn't, honestly, haven't spent enough time there to make a really reasoned answer to that. It looked very similar to me. Not as big, of course, not as many people, scavenging.
What is the reason that other one is so big where you were?
I think this is just the main garbage dump for Ulaanbaatar.
And they have been telling us they will make some processing, this waste processing factories, plants. If there's any?
Not that I've seen, no.
Nothing is. There's one which is not working.
Yes, there's a big plant up there at the garbage dump.
In your place?
Yeah, but it's not working.
Spend a few billions of tugrigs and not working.
No.
And we don't know who is responsible.
I don't know who's responsible.
Nobody knows because they keep it in secret.
Okay.
Because probably that guy belongs to one of the political parties' leadership. And that's the whole problem. The whole society pays tax. We ask government to take care of at least the kids, at least those in the damp area, and yet the situation. That's unfortunate. It's what's happening. What's your plan?
My plan. Okay, so we have, we're going to be fundraising, of course, building the second kindergarten. We also, as part of that development, we're working with another international NGO. We're going to be building a vocational training center for the adults and a shower facility. And so we also have a summer camp where we take the older children.
Well,
up to
you
3
said we will have second kindergarten, vocational training center for parents in the third.
We have a summer camp for
A
the
summer
older
camp.
older kids
Okay.
to give them some direction and idea about moving forward with a life off of the garbage dump. We have a community library at our center, so kids can get after school homework help, the children who are going to school.
And do they go?
Yep, they do.
Probably it's much better than go to the waste place.
Yes.
And they spend rather more time.
Yeah.
Do you give them food in library?
We haven't actually, it's one of those things that if somebody's hungry, we'll give them food. But we haven't actually got a formal program yet to feed the kids in the after school program. Our kitchen right at the moment is feeding about 250 people 3 times a day because we're feeding the kids at the school, so there's 150 people. And then there's almost 40 staff members that we feed as well.
You have a kitchen feeding 250 poor people and their children 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, well, it's 250 people in total. We have the children the kids from the kindergarten, 150.
Yes.
And then our staff members are 40. And then our local NGO partner has a remedial school for the older kids who are behind in school, just across the road, but he doesn't have a kitchen. So we cook for his school, which is 60 more children.
And that's where the monthly scholarship, monthly stipend, sponsorship will go to the feeding these people. Otherwise, they no chance to eat.
So the monthly sponsorship will be going to like food and and to heat the
Heating.
and heating is actually one of our big expenses because
coal.
Electric.
Because
coal is really polluting the world. So even though it is more expensive, we opted to go with electric heating, specifically because we don't want to be part of the problem.
And by the way, this area where you are have a lot of heavy smoke, right?
Oh my word! Yeah, it's pretty much as the worst readings in Ulaanbaatar. People.
How you call it?
It's the Songenhagen district. So Tolgoit is the other part over the hill. So yeah, Tolgoit and Songenhagen. When I look on the internet and I look at like they have the little flags with the numbers on it and whatnot.
You have
and
highest.
It's 200 or 300 in the city center, which of course this also is not good, but it's like 900 or 1200 up there, and whenever we go up.
It is every time beyond 50 is already signal for normal cities and normal countries.
So,
in Mongolia, in the center, 250, in your area, about 1,000.
Yeah. So, but one of the things that is really, I would like everybody to realize is that the part of the problem of why the air is so toxic in Ulaanbaatar is because these poor people, they don't have money for coal or wood. So people think it's coal smoke, but they're burning whatever they can find to keep warm. And so often, wood that they found in the garbage dump that's covered in lead paint or turpentine or tires or shoes. Shoes burn really hot. They're really toxic. Anything that they can find that will burn and provide heat, regardless of the toxicity, because of course, I mean,
there is a dilemma.
It's the hierarchy of needs, right? If you don't want to freeze to death, right?
Yes, in particular, you cannot freeze your children into that.
Yeah. So, but the thing is that the toxic materials that they're burning do not just stay in that community.
That's the whole issue.
We're all breathing them. Everybody's breathing it because, it's the air.
Anything you would like to address Mongolian people?
I just think I would just like to say that the Mongolian people have in their capacity to fix this problem. In global terms, this is not a huge problem. And, in historical terms, it's a very short-lived problem at this point. So I think if everybody is aware of it and works together, then we can get everybody out of the garbage dump. We can get the children educated and becoming productive members of society and healthy. And they can be part of the solution rather than, sort of becoming that part of the society that is just going to drag the whole community down. So I think everybody working together can fix this.
Exactly, and you are being exemplary in that because, and I would like to thank you, Julie, and your husband, Chilvan, for the work you do.
Thank you.
And provoking Mongolians to think over these issues.
Thank you very much.
Julie, thank you very much.
Thank you. Lovely to chat. Okay.
За хүн үзэгчтэй өнөөдөр манай дефакто нэвтрүүлгийн зочноор Улаанчулуутын хогын цэг дээр байгаа хүмүүст тусалж байгаа Вэлүү Сангийн энэ буйны сан эзэгтэй энийг байгуулсан Жүли Вэлүү оролцлоо их баярлалаа.